Talk fast.
That's my good side, Andy. Thank you. That should not surprise you.
No surprise.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, are you ready? Okay. So, my name is Becca Smith, and I'm 36 years old. It's a surprise. Early 30s, right? I'm the director of marketing.
That would be later 30s.
It's early 30s. I am the director of marketing at Smith & Smith CPA, and I've been in this Rotary Club for 10 years. This is the only Rotary Club I have ever been in. My hometown is Kingsport, Tennessee. I grew up there for 13 years, and then I moved to Greenville, North Carolina with my family, and I moved to Cary when I was 25. So I've been here almost 12 years. When I was growing up in Tennessee, my parents were Girl Scout troop leaders for our Girl Scout troop. So from a very early age, service and volunteer and doing things for other people was part of my life. I'm married to Blake. We've been married for 12 years. We have 2 kids. Trent is 10 and Mark is 7. They will turn 11 and 8 in less than a month. They are 3 years and 3 days apart. When you marry a CPA, everything is planned out. So we are not allowed to have children at our practice January through April. So that's why they're 3 years and 3 days apart, and that is the truth. I very much feel like my family is part of this Rotary Club, even though they're not physical members. Most of you have seen my children at events a lot. Blake is a great Rotary spouse. He supports this club immensely. All I have to do is say, this is what we're doing, this is what I need a check for, this is what I'd like to support. And he says, yes, dear. So he's very good. He also graciously donates a large portion of our garage to Rotary, and that's been a storage unit for Rotary for a couple years now. I went to East Carolina University. Yay! I did my undergrad in hospitality management tourism, and then I went on and completed my MBA. Some of you may or may not know this. I was a Rotary Scholar with the Rotary Club of Greenville. So that was my very first experience with Rotary when I went to the club. Had dinner with them and told them thank you, very much like we still do with our scholars here. That was a very good, positive experience for me. I had a couple other scholarships, and so my entire undergrad and MBA was fully funded through scholarships, which my parents were very, very much appreciative of. One of the scholarship requirements was that I had to join a service organization for 4 years. So I joined the ECU Ambassadors. I was involved in that all through college, did tons and tons of service, volunteer opportunities. It was really, really a great opportunity for me. I don't know if I would have been as involved if it had not been part of that scholarship requirement. So I'm thankful for that. Part of, when I got out of school and moved here, a young man named Scott Rossi was a friend of our office and a client, and he invited my father-in-law to come to Rotary. And my father-in-law said, no. So then Scott asked Blake, and Blake said, no. So unfortunately for Scott, that left me. And I said, sure. So I came and I visited 1 week and I turned my application in the next week, and I've been a member ever since. So you can blame Scott for this situation up here. I love being in Rotary. I love this club. I love the projects that we do, so I can't really pick one out. That's my favorite. A couple of fun things about me. Some of this you may or may not know. Besides my family and my Jesus, the 2 things I love most are sweet tea and high heel shoes. That's my favorite. I read the newspaper every single day. Like the real newspaper. It gets delivered to my front yard. My kids pick it up every day. I guess a lot of people don't do that still, but I do. I read the entire paper, every section, and I'll take it with me to sporting events. I'll take it with me to Cocoa Booth, but I read the paper every day. I still have both of my grandmothers living. One is 90, one is 94. When Blake and I got married, we had 8 grandparents living. Now we have 5, but we're very fortunate and thankful to have so many still living. This is kind of interesting. There's a whole list of foods that I do not eat. I'm going to tell you some. It's quite amazing. Bananas, pineapples, cauliflower, oranges, coconut, peaches, peppers, tomatoes, radishes, Brussels sprouts, lobster, oysters, clams, collards, tuna, yogurt, sweet potatoes, and tofu. I eat tofu. And there's more, but that's just the list. My claim to fame is my grandfather was one of the original owners of the King Midget. So if you're a car fan, maybe you've heard of the King Midget. He was one of the original owners back in 1948. This is a tiny, tiny little car that was produced in Ohio. we still have this car in my grandmother's garage. It still runs. And we used to drive it in the 4th of July parade every year in Kingsport, but that's kind of cool that we still have that. The best trip I ever did, when I was in college, I took my dad kayaking in the Everglades for spring break. So we went down for a whole week. We kayaked from island to island and spent the night in a little tiny 2-person tent with giant mosquitoes and massive sea creatures. And it was the best experience I ever could have had with my dad. It was a really good bonding experience before I went on and became a young adult outside of school. So that's me.